So we'll call the finance meeting to order, 7 o'clock, August 7th. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the August financial management summary. Oh, sorry. Is there any public comment? Public comment going once, public comment going twice. Public comment is closed. All right, so financial management summary for July and August, I guess?
It's July, yeah. Okay, so as we instituted last year, we came back last year in July, beginning of July, and we presented to the board a truer allocation of what we thought the line items comprising the entire budget should be. You know, obviously a lot of things changed during the year, but it's a far cry different, as you can see from this allocation schedule from where we started. Now, back on March 21st was the last time that the board officially voted on an allocation of a budget. Since that time, there were two cuts made in the budget by the Board of Finance. One was on May, I believe, the 8th, and the second one was on May the 22nd. They were arbitrary cuts. One was in the amount of $434,000. The other one was in the amount of $66,696. Now, the board did meet, I believe it was on May 31st, when you had your hearing here, and you talked about potential allocations of the 434 and the 66,696. So when you look at what I'm presenting now, and that will be presented, I'm hoping you'll refer on to the full board, is a modified adjustment of those two cuts, the $500,696, which makes up the 434 and the 66,696. So in column 1 of the allocation schedule is the budget you approved on March 21st. In the second column is a modified allocation of the $500,000 worth of cuts that would take us to the voter-approved budget of $38,158,839. At the last board meeting, the board did vote to adopt the number that was approved by the budget. This is just an allocation of those amounts as we go forward. A couple of things to note.
Beth, you had a question?
Just a quick question. In looking at some of the net changes, it seems like just reviewing the largest ones, teachers, regular instruction.
Okay, well, what happened there is if you look at that column, it nets out to 21,000.
No, I see that.
So what we did was
regarding the $460,801.
Yeah, but we moved all of the teachers out of regular instruction down into unified arts. So we put the music teachers, the art teachers, into the category that they were supposed to be in. And because what we found out was in the way the budget was originally set up, in one school, the music teacher was in unified arts, in another school, the music teacher was up in the regular categorization. Since coming here, I've been working to try to get this general ledger to actually say what it says, what it's supposed to say, which is put the stuff in the right categories. I've been doing that with certified staff. As you recall, I did that with supplies, we did that with energy, we've done that with building improvements, et cetera, et cetera.
Technology.
I think we've finally gotten took a year, basically, to clean this mess up, but we are now going forward. I should be able to give you some meaningful reports in terms of what goes on in these line items. And honestly, it took a year. Last year.
So that the balance, so all those numbers are based on reallocation according to that.
Yeah, to a net negative $21,000.
Yep, understood. Thank you.
Which represents a cut.
And the same question, special ed, public schools versus private
Yes.
schools, same.
That came up last year when I did my EFS filing. We were unaware of what the actual codes meant, and we found out from the state that SES and ACEs are public outplacement and all the others are private outplacement. I had to go back and revamp the actual numbers from last year so I could get it to agree, so I could get my EFS filing done, because They had numbers from the Special Education Excess Cost Grant Report in which they allocated them by public and private. I didn't know that behind the scenes until they explained it to me. So again, these are kinds of things that in the past, the state really wasn't connecting the dots. And when they implemented the new grant system in '22, and then they connected it to EFS, all of these anomalies fell out of the system. And then we had to fix them, and we had to fix them retroactively too. I'm hoping not to have to fix them proactively anymore, because now we know where things go. As far as health insurance, that's a reduction relating to the decrease in rates from our first year with United Healthcare. As I mentioned in the last board meeting, the state came back, reduced our Seymour's contribution by about 3.5 points, and that saves us about $150,000 for this year. So we were able to take and reallocate that. We've cut legal fees down because we've actually done quite well this year on legal fees, and I believe that $125,000 will be sufficient, and probably even more than sufficient, but it depends. You may get some special ed cases and whatnot that could run into some money, but I think 125 is clearly a reasonable projection. Other than that, you know, we are tracking really well on energy usage, especially as it relates to electricity. Now, a number of things happened over the course of the past year. They installed some new controls. They've really done some efficiency work in some of these schools to try to balance out the different forms. You have heat pumps over in Chatfield, it's set with the combination with electricity. Also, we're turning stuff off. You know, I mean, it's, you know, we just got to a point where we said we really have to just relook at everything we're doing as it relates to building maintenance, energy, et cetera, because these are huge ticket items, and this money does not go to education. So we really took a look at the facilities, and I'm comfortable with the cut in electricity, even with the installation of the new AC in the high school, because I really believe that, you know, the impact of that is largely in the hot summer months, May, June, July, August, and a few of those months nobody's here except people in central office, and we're not using that much air conditioning. And also those units are all on individual controls. They all go on and off at specified times. They don't just run all night long. So again, it's all really about controls and trying to utilize the energy when you need it and turn it off when you don't. As far as anything else, we talked in the last meeting about the increase in the textbook and curricular materials for next year. So we've reallocated some of the money we picked up in some of those other areas. And the other big ticket item, the $75,000 that we took out of account 731 on page 3, that was the matching funds for the camera project that we decided that we just simply couldn't afford in the budget for next year. So I do think that this gives a better perspective on where our costs are. And then, of course, as I start to report beginning next month, you know, there's no report to give you this month for July because most of what's going on in July is relating to last year. We're still paying residual teacher expenses because their pay runs through this coming Friday. And right now, mostly accounts payable. And I honestly couldn't give you a meaningful projection other than budget at the end of July anyway, because I would simply tell you I expect the entire budget to be this at the end of the year. I just got contacted by the auditors. We're going to have a meeting in the next 2 weeks about planning. The big push right now is we have EFS filing due by September 1. In order to do that, I have to first report out all the end of project and end of year grants into the grant system, because the grant system in the background is going to reconcile with EFS, which is the problem we had last year, which is where some of this stuff came out. So between now and the end of the month, all the grants are tied out, EFS is filed, we certify by September 1, and then we begin the audit. And I don't expect this year to have anything any findings. I don't expect to have any issues. We had a pretty clean audit last year, and we were pretty fastidious this year about, dotting i's, crossing t's, and making sure that we documented everything in the best way we could in the accounts we had. So that's my report.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the full board the approval of the August 7th, 2023 Financial Management Summary Report, period.
All right, a second. All those, any discussion? Good. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, passes 2-0. And then we have the budget line.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget line item allocation for the 23-24 fiscal year as presented this evening.
A second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, passes 2-0. Reports?
I don't know if Mr. Bucci mentioned it, but we did attend the Finance Committee meeting last week with Bill Sawicki.
The Board of
and
Finance
Board of
meeting.
Finance meeting. It went well. Mr. Bucci gave a nice update and just stated where we currently were, and we'd had a successful year, which we're very proud of financially. So it was a nice meeting, so I just wanted to update in regards to that, so.
Great.
We feel like we're ending the year in a really good financial shape.
Perfect. Anything else?
One quick thing, I'd like to recommend that moving forward, we get a grants update at these finance committees, given that we now have a stipended position to talk about just status and doesn't, high level, red, yellow, green, what we're working on, but I know that was a new position that we approved for this
Yeah.
coming year, so I think there should be some transparency to the board around
Yeah,
what's
we'll
being.
come forth. We probably
achieved.
won't want to do it every month, but definitely this coming month, and we'll do it at least
Yeah.
every 2 to 3 months, for sure.
Great,
2 months.
whatever you think is best, but I think
Okay,
that's important.
sounds great. I think you'll be pleased.
All right, if nothing else,
Yeah. I'll make
Good.
a motion to adjourn.
motion adjourned. Second. All those in favor? All right, thank you. All right, we will call the, oh, sorry, are you ready? We'll call the August 7th Board of Ed meeting to order. First up on the agenda is the pledge. Pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item 2, we have board and administrative communications. I did receive a letter at home stating our CABE membership is continuing. And then today, I received a letter dated July 5th congratulating Mr. Ed Stramello as he has earned the CABE's Master Board of Education member designation. By earning this honor, he initially earned the required 20 credits in the area of board relations, policy, curriculum, school finance, school law, labor relations, and board operations. So I will pass this around. Have you seen this, Ms.?
I would like
Oh,
to
yes.
say that he's only 3 in the state, and we're going to be doing a special recognition in September. It's quite an honor, so congratulations, Mr. Stramello, and we will be doing a press release. They've already followed up with that as well. I think it would be good with the onset of school and to do it in September.
You're a celebrity now.
Well, that means I've been around a long time, that's what that means.
Did anybody else get any fan mail this week or this past month? No? All right, item 3, public comment. Any comments from the public?
Good evening, Paul Roy, Chairman of the Seymour High School Sports
Hall of Fame Committee. I have tonight the list of folks that are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this October 28th. We have from the class of 1959, Dan Paul for baseball, basketball, and football. Class of 1967, classmate of mine, Jack Moresco for football, baseball, and basketball. Class of 72, Ernie Graywatts, football. Class of 1990, Heather Landolfi for softball and basketball. Class of 1991, Rebecca Blake for swimming. This is our first swimmer to make the Hall of Fame. Class of 1992 is Bill Brooks for baseball and football. And our outstanding contribution award goes to Rich Lewis. Rich was the team manager, statistician, and sports writer for 4 years. His 4 years. He actually wrote for the newspapers and as well. And when he went to college, he ended up being a sports information director for a few years. So his 4 years at Seymour prepped him for that. So a good class. We're excited about it, and we're hoping you folks can make it. So I'm going to give everybody a list of the names. If you have any questions of me, I'd be glad to answer them. Or you can email me.
Paul, you said that was October 28th?
October 28th. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, and we'll make sure as well that the Board of Ed will do the proclamation
Yeah.
honoring these new inductees.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, Mr. Hatfield, if we can get you to oversee that,
Yeah. Do you need any
work
extra
with
copies?
Leanne and myself.
Yep.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I plan on attending.
Any other comments? Public comment going twice. Third call, public comment. Public comment is closed. Item 4, reports and presentations. We don't have any. And item 5, the consent agenda.
I'd like to remove item G, C, the consent agenda.
GC. Yes.
Gee, which?
The reason is,
G1C.
G1C.
the reason that I asked Mr. Hatfield to acknowledge that, Brianna has accepted another job that's very close to her hometown. She was going to be driving quite a distance. So therefore, it's real important. She was an outstanding candidate. We'd actually went through the process of recommending her, and she'd done some paperwork. But if she's getting a job very close home, then we can't fault that. So we do have another candidate that we'll be bringing forth at the next meeting, hopefully.
I'd also like to remove memorandum of understanding, school resource officer.
What item?
Item E.
5E.
E.
5E.
5B. Okay, anything else? All right, so I'll accept the motion, approve the consent agenda with item E and G, 1C removed.
So moved.
All right, motion by Ms. Garofalo, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Beth. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 500. Item 6, items removed from the consent agenda. I'm assuming we don't need to take action on G1C.
That's right. we can't.
So we have item E, the memorandum of understanding for school resource officer, Mr. Schmel.
Yes, after reading that a couple of times, I still have a little concerns about the cooperation between us and the police chief, meaning our superintendent and stuff. There's no real statement in there that our superintendent or administrator at the high school or middle school be involved in interviewing or because when we did our directed security, we invited the police chief to that and got his input.
Well-
And so I would think reciprocity would be appropriate because I shouldn't say we, administrators and the superintendent know what a good fix is and which person would be a good match for our kids. Not that the police chief does not, or the police commissioners do not, but I think it would be appropriate for us to have it stated in our memorandum understanding that the superintendent and/or the high school principal and/or the middle school principal be invited during the interview process of selecting the school resource officer. Because, I had training many years ago with that, and that was always supposed to be a combined effort. We're not trying to say who we're going to select, but we like to be able to be involved in the process. And I don't see where we're listed anywhere in the memorandum. And I believe I brought this up last year.
You did, you brought it up last year, and the information that I was given from the chief of police is the fact that from a union perspective, that's how it has to be stated. I think what would be good is to check with their attorney and our attorney, and they're all under the same umbrella, to really get a clarification, because it would be nice to have a little of attachment, at least an understanding. So we can check on it again. That was the problem that was last year, so let's just put it back. Is it okay, Mr. Stramello? Let's just check with the attorneys again and see if
Whatever,
they can-
whatever the
yeah.
board feels, that's just my opinion. I don't know what other board members think.
Do you have any interaction in those discussions, or is that?
This year, the gentleman was just placed. Mr. Freud can also address that in regards with the high school. We're very pleased, but as far as total input, he's done a great job. It's just the input, there's something about with the union, but I think we just need to go back and let our attorney, which is out of the same law firm, and their main town attorney, just to say, hey, can't we do a little attachment here?
And through the chair, it does seem like in the second paragraph, under section 3, that there is a possibility to add a quick line there, because it does say, police department reserves the right to reassign SROs as needed. However, the police department recognizes that reassigning an SRO during the school year could affect students, teachers, and school administrators. I do believe that, a line in there, in consultation with school administration
And
or the
school
superintendent,
superintendent.
could be added, that maybe could clear some of that up for Mr. Smella,
Yeah.
if possible. But I do concur with my colleague's comments that we should have something in there just to give ourselves a little.
Yeah, because it's important.
Okay, I'll make a motion and we table this until our September meeting.
Motion to
Second.
table, a second by Jay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion to table passes 5-0-0. Okay, that closes the item 6. Item 7, discussion possible action. Item A, part-time secretary for Seymour High. Dr. Compton?
Yeah, we did this last year. We're asking again this year to have this position again. It's very crucial for the administration. This person will do a lot of the tardies, a lot of things dealing with the attendance, so it's just real crucial that we'd like to put it back in. It is in the budget, so it's just important that we do it. When I look back last year, I'd only said for the 1 year, so that's why I'm asking to bring it back again. It worked out well.
Through the chair. Is there any part-time currently at central office I forget?
No.
No. So, in this position, is that something that, because I know we have coming up to add to the agenda a full-time person, is there anything there that could be used also at central, the duty split as we've, reorganized ourselves?
I think what we've got to try to do is later re-look at the situation specifically with the floating secretary like we had before. It was just a monetary thing. And also how it helped assist central office, especially special ed department, because they just drowned with budget and all the things that has to go on. We've never really recovered from all of that. Our Linda Bell Events does an outstanding job. I think it's something we need to come back and look at. I think this person specifically is to be at the door part-time and really deal with the attendance and tardies and the situation where we're at with administration, providing help to the 2 current administrators. So I think it's something we need to bring back and look at in regards with the other situation. Because the floating secretary really helped, really did. I mean, our secretaries are busy and sometimes overwhelmed.
Make a motion to approve part-time secretary at Seymour High School.
Second.
All right, motion by Jay, second by Ed. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Item 7B, the robotics Appendix D position.
Yeah, Mr. Ford, you might want to help me out on this. Mr. Lucky has requested, and it's a good request, that at this time that we reallocate the DFCA and allocate this to be a robotics club, which is more in current times. This other has basically been a dead position.
So, yes, I made the DECA position, the teacher used to hold that position and started a retire a year ago, and that money has gone unused. And right now, we have a real need to support an Appendix E robotics club position so they could attend competitions outside of Seymour and other schools, and that's really kind of showing interest amongst the young people. So the idea is to repurpose the old DECA funding to robotics. It's no additional cost to the Board of Education. It's in the budget. It's in the contract.
Make a motion to approve the change in Appendix D positions from DECA to robotics.
motion by Mr. Hatfield, do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second by Mrs. Steriak, any other discussion?
Is there, through the chair, is there a robotics club now, or is this going to be the start of it?
This will be a start of it, and it's very much needed, and we want to turn around and do the same thing, support with the middle school.
If I may, the robotics club was from last year, but it was voluntary, so we'd like to get to the competitive level. The only way to do that is
We really need a competitive, they want to have a competitive robotics team, which we need both places as we can.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 5-0-0. Item 7C, the non-resident enrollment parent request.
This is something in dealing with our policy that we're asking to extend the months. This is very unusual. Parent did a great job with their request. They are building a new home in Seymour. They're currently renting a place in Oxford. They sold their home. We even have the blueprints and the name of the company and the contract that's in your board agenda. We would like for the child to be able to attend Seymour and not be switched in January. They're actually saying that the construction should be finished in January, but our policy is 90 days. So it puts you right on having to go over a month, but you would hate for a little kid to start out one school and then move to another. So I don't have that authority, that's why I'm bringing it to you. I'd like to just waive the month. You know, with building homes, if it's bad weather, it might get delayed more, but it's on target for January. It's a custom-built home. They've got the blueprints and everything. At least I was glad to see the actual contract. So,
Make a motion to approve the non-resident enrollment parent request for the 2023-24 school year.
All right, motion by Mr. Hatfield. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Beth. Any other discussion? Ed?
Question, doesn't say which of the elementary schools. At least I can't.
Bungie.
Huh?
I think it's Bungie.
Based on the address. it's one day.
Address.
Okay, based on the address.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beth knew that better than me. I'm sorry. I'm doing better about the geography. I'm trying to get the streets down.
And that, our Bungie enrollment is a little bit lower than our Chatfield kindergarten, correct?
Yeah. Yes, that is exactly correct. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0-0. Item 7D, new position, half speech language pathologist.
This is something that is mandated for us to be in compliance with the IEPs. Dr. Bull is not here tonight, but I'm going to speak on his behalf. I see Alice and Brett in the audience. It's just real important. I've met with these speech language pathologists. Dr. Bull and I have at least 2 times. They've showed us all the caseloads, and we really have no other way to go but to increase. And I've worked with Mr. Bucci with the budget in regards, because, I mean, we can't be in compliance if we don't do this.
All right, any questions? Dr. Compton? So we currently don't have this today?
No, we do not. We have 4, and this would be 5. I mean, this would be an added .5.
What is the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion, we add a new speech and language pathologist, 0.5 FTEs.
All right, motion by Mr. Chanello.
Second.
Second. Mr. Garofalo, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes 5-0-0. Item 7E,
You're not going to see anything yet. I just wanted to just bring it to your attention that we're working with Dr. Miller and the two directors of special services to look at possible agreements if we have one student that there's a need to transfer to Oxford and a need for them to transfer to Seymour. We would have to have a legal cooperative agreement. It would have to be approved by our attorney and their board attorney, but it's something that I'd like for us to consider. I thought I would have it ready for this meeting, but I don't, but I do want to start the possible discussion. So, just to see, like, if we exchange a student and they have a student, it's a possibility. So we've talked, that's a better situation. So I'll get back with you, because it'll have to be an agreement approved by both attorneys.
Okay. All right, item 7F, we have 2 transfers.
Yes, they've also
Short
went.
question.
Yep.
Do we need to, for example, for this cooperative agreement, is it appropriate to table, or should we defer additional discussion until such time as the agreement is available for review?
That would be good, Mr. Cole. That would be better.
I don't think it would matter, we could put it on next month, but if
Well,
you
it's,
wanted
I
to.
just look at it because it's on the agenda.
Yes, yeah.
And it shouldn't just disappear into limbo. We should at least
Yes.
have some action on it.
Yeah, thank you, and I will bring that back and try to have the necessary agreements and stuff.
So then will you entertain a motion?
Sure.
I would move that we defer additional discussion on item 7E, cooperative agreement with Oxford Public Schools for student transfers until such time as the agreement has been firmed up and available for review by the board.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jim, second by Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Okay, now item 7F, the 2 transfers.
I make a motion to approve the transfer of Stacy Long as assistant principal to Bungay Elementary School.
Okay, motion by Jay,
Second?
second by Jim. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0-0. F2.
Move to approve the transfer of Ernie DeStacy as assistant principal to Chatfield Lopresti Elementary School, replacing Stacy Long.
Motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jay. Any discussion?
Through the chair, I would just like to thank Mr. DeStacy for his service as athletic director and representing our district with great pride. You know, he was frequently seen at sporting events, outside athletic events, banquets, dinners, award ceremonies, and he did so with great pride and admiration for our district. So I really appreciate him stepping up in a difficult time for that role.
I'd like to say the same thing. We appreciate his dedicated service, and he had requested a transfer. He wanted an opportunity. He's been doing this for several years. The transfer process did involve some interviews, and it's legal to do. I think sometimes people don't understand that the board and the superintendent have the right to transfer. Mrs. Long she also went through an extensive interview as well. So I think it's just important, though, back with Mr. DeStacy, to just, again, emphasize the dedication to the athletic program, because it ends up, it's a job that continues on the weekends. It doesn't end. From the end of July on, it's ongoing. Mr. Shamella knows that. He's lived that position many years ago.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0-0. Item 7G, we have 3 new hires. First up is the Director of Security.
Tonight we have with us Mr. Ed Henry and also his wife. Welcome. This process in regards of hiring of this position was very thorough. It consisted of a selection committee. I felt like that the members of that committee were very thorough. It consisted of 2 board members. It consisted of the chief of police. It consisted of Steve Dietrich, a former police officer and detective, and a former school resource officer. Mr. Hatfield, you were on that committee, so was Mr. Stramello. We had excellent candidates, I have to say that.
And Mr. Garfolo.
And Mr. Garfolo was our third, I'm sorry. I've been in a lot of interview sessions. So.
No offense
yeah.
taken.
Yeah, so all 3 candidates were outstanding. It's a tough call, it's a tough choice. But all of these men were well qualified. But I thought in the end result, we feel like this gentleman will will continue the legacy of Rich Kearns, and our most important job is keeping our kids safe. Safety is number 1. Academics is second, because if you don't have safety, then we're going to be in trouble. And I want to commend the board for continuing this, because I can imagine not having a director of security in these times. There were over 300 school shootings this past year. And we have to be proactive, and we have to make sure that we have our security and plans and so forth in place. So, Mr. Henry, would you like to say anything? Come up to the board here.
Sure.
You've had a lot of experience over the years.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Compton and the selection committee. I thought the interviews were very thorough. A lot of pertinent questions were asked. I'd also like to thank my wife Ursula for supporting me through the process, and hopefully the board will see it in their hearts to pass me through tonight. So I'm looking forward to working with staff, with students, and with our students' parents, because that's probably a lot of most of the job.
You've had a very extensive background. You want to tell them a little bit about
Yep,
you
so
went
I
up
was
through the
a
ranks?
police officer. Yep, I was a police officer in Ansonia for 28 years. I retired as a patrol sergeant. I was the first school resource officer for Ansonia school system in 2001 to 2005. I left there after being promoted to sergeant. In 2017, I became the admin sergeant, where I was in charge of records, scheduling, the evidence office, and court liaison at that time. So that was a 3-year assignment. That got me to 2020, and then I did 2 more years in patrol as a supervisor. Retired from there, and I've been a year and a half at the state attorney's office in Milford as an investigator. So it's been a while.
Did you recognize this guy?
Yes, I did.
Are you
So
sure?
as anybody knows that still lives and works in the community that they went to school in, it's a great advantage, and it's great to see faces of mentors and friends and just colleagues that I grew up with. And when I was a school resource officer at Ansonia High School, Mrs. Christensen, who was the principal, was my English teacher when I was in high school. Mr. Lisi was my football coach. Mr. Hunt, who was the truant officer at that time, was also my football coach and a mentor also. So I got to work with a lot of young new teachers and a lot of teachers that were my teachers. So I kind of got away with stuff with the new teachers and not so much with the teachers that taught me lessons. So, but thank you again. I appreciate the consideration for the job.
Yeah, like I said, you were outstanding and just a wonderful group of candidates. We were very blessed. We had 4 outstanding people, and you were our final selection. So kudos to the rest of them as well. It speaks volumes for their success and their resumes, but we just want to say we really feel with all your experiences that you were the package that will fit the school district at this time.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint and enter into an employment agreement with Edward Henry as the Director of Security for the period of August 7th, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Jay, second by Jim. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes 5-0. Welcome aboard,
Excuse me, Chris, who seconded that motion?
Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7G, Director of Athletics.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Mrs. Kathy Fedorovich as Director of Athletics at Seymour High School, replacing Mr. Ernie DeStacy.
I have a motion by Ed. Do I have a second? By Jim. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. G3, Assistant Athletic Director.
And this person will be filling the position that Kathy was holding at the same salary and stipend.
I'd like to
Make
make,
a motion.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead. I defer to you, Mr. Chairman,
Go
of
ahead.
the Athletic Committee.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Mr. David Wilderson as the Assistant Director of Athletics, replacing Mrs. Kathy Fedorovich for Seymour High School.
Have a motion by Ed, second by Jay. Any other discussions? I just had one question, and I probably should have brought this up under Ms. Fedorovich. What is the status of their coaching? They're still going to be able to coach?
They are still allowed to coach. It's done in a lot of different places. Oxford is a nearby model, but they are allowed to coach. They're working out what he coaches one sport, she coaches volleyball, so they already have that worked out, so.
And through the chair, if I may, that's a great question. I know somebody else brought that up at the last meeting. We did talk about that in the discussions, that it actually works out that I don't believe that either one of them coach at the same time. So if one's coaching, the other one is not, I think he coaches 2 seasons and she coaches 1. But, from the conversation we had with them, I think that they'll be able to work that out. She'll be coaching, he's not, et cetera.
Perfect.
So,
All right.
we did talk about that.
And we're gonna have her portion of her salary of the athletic director separate from her teacher's salary. And that was a great suggestion from Mrs. Harmley about where it shows from the athletic budget.
And again, my only thing through the chair, I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I do, want to make sure that we're mindful of the summer work that may go in for both people. It's a big thing now that people are talking about in the athletic director world is how much work is being done in the summer that may or may not be compensated. So just as we think forward, we should be fair to that because a lot of the work is done. And again, even for the superintendent, I can't believe how much summer work I've seen this summer. And we have to be mindful of that.
Kathy was working today, still assuming the athletic, and so is Ernie. I mean, they've been teaming, but that shows kudos to her dedication as well. There she was in a room with her athletic stuff when I walked by. And it seems to be the demands are increasing.
All right, any other questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Item H, just like we've done every year, since we brought in the resource officers, authorization to carry a firearm on school grounds for the 23-24 school year.
Move to allow the superintendent, in collaboration with the Seymour Chief of Police, to authorize Edward Henry, Director of Security, Ronald Barnard, School Security Officer at Bungay Elementary School, Kevin Pimpinelli, School Security Officer at Chatfield Lopresti School, and Thomas Bennett, School Security Officer Substitute, to carry a firearm on school grounds through the end of the 2023-2024 school year. This arrangement will be reviewed and reauthorized prior to the beginning of each school year.
Thank you, Jim. I have a motion by Mr. Garofalo. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Beth. Any questions or discussion?
This is something that's an annual thing, and Rich Curran's always kept me updated about that, as well as Leanne. Something mandatory.
I have one question. Is the firearm a personal firearm, or is it provided by the police department?
I believe.
Ron, can you help me out on that? It's not the police. That's what I thought. I didn't want to answer incorrectly. Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0-0. And item I, the proactive sports contract for 23-24. Did this come through the athletic committee?
Through the chair, no, I don't believe we, sorry, that's the chairman, I don't want to speak for.
No, we did not.
No, okay.
So I would like to see it maybe one more time. Maybe we could, through the chair, maybe we could have a quick athletic committee meeting, or committee meeting, now that we have our staff in place with the company to really work out some of the kinks.
Yeah,
Again,
there's,
I think that there are some issues there that I would have a hard time, approving a contract with some of their comments and/or demeanor that they have claimed
right.
towards our district.
Well, we just need to clear the air. I think we'll let Kathy come back. You all will meet and decide. We've thought about a possible athletic meeting tonight, but that would have been too much and too early. We've got to sit down with these people at the table and just clear up any uncertainties that the athletic trainer has, and also Christine, who is head of the company, so that we can get their concerns addressed. Everybody's on the same page. I think Kathy has a good plan of how to address those issues and concerns, and she's got a plan of action. So
So I would entertain a motion to
let's
defer this
just table it
to
till we have
the
another
subcommittee.
meeting.
Okay. But then if we're tabling it from here,
Not table,
oh,
just referring
moving,
it to the
gotcha,
subcommittee.
gotcha,
not
okay.
subcommittee.
all right.
I don't think we need a motion for that, but we'll just refer it to the subcommittee. I think that's.
Well, we
can
should, maybe we should just do it anyway.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we refer the Proactive Sports Medicine LLC contract for further discussion with the athletic committee ASAP.
Second.
Motion by Ed, second by Jay. All those in favor?
Aye.
I just think it's going to take just getting everybody on the same page.
Correct.
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to add, or acknowledge, or, excuse me, under item 8, information. Do I have to give it a number and stuff? 1C, acknowledge the resignation of Caitlin Drukowski, kindergarten teacher, Chatfield Preston School, effective August 3rd, 2023.
All right, motion by Jay to add to the agenda. Have a
Second.
Second by Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0.
Make a motion to add to the agenda under 8.1D, the resignation of Dawn Black, special education teacher, Bungay Elementary School, effective August 7, 2023.
Motion to add the agenda by Jay. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to add to the agenda under 8.2C, the resignation of Jocelyn Idarola, secretary, Seymour High School, effective August 7, 2023.
Second.
She just sent that in to us in regards, she has a new baby and she's decided to stay with the baby.
All right, so motion by Jay, second by Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. So along with those in item 8, we have the resignations, penalty position. Any questions on any of those? All right, item 9, Board of Ed comments. I don't have any besides another congratulations to Mr. Ed Stramello for the Master Board of Education member designation. Other than that, I'll go down to Beth.
Nope.
Jay?
I just want to take a moment to thank Dr. Compton for her leadership this summer. Last month she made a comment about summer hires and the fact that she wanted them to be fully transparent to the board. And over my tenure here, I think that's the first time that I've heard someone say that they didn't want to have the ultimate control of that. So I give her a lot of credit for that. And also, thank you for keeping us updated. This has been a difficult summer personnel-wise, of a lot of movings and goings, and you've really tried to tackle it as much as you could. You've put a lot of hours in, so I just wanted to publicly give you some compliments for that.
Thank you, Jay. It's been a lot of dedication, and also to our staff and our central office, and also to our administration as well. Thank you.
Well, there is another workshop for K board members this week.
Are you going?
I'm thinking about it. I have to do it very quickly because I believe it's Thursday.
Yeah.
And today is Monday,
Yeah.
last time I checked. So it's a fun one. Well, I shouldn't say it's a fun one, but it's a nice place to go. It's down in Westbrook.
I went last
Yeah,
year.
you went last year. I went last year. Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 of us.
All
That's-
three
that's
of
the
you
day
went
one.
last year.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better than last year's. I was disappointed in last year's, I'll be honest. And I let people know.
And then you're going to
And then you got an award.
Gotta be honest, you gotta be up to task. If you're gonna educate us, then you gotta be up to the task. You gotta provide a good workshop. Can't just throw people up there and let them just talk.
A lot of serious issues that
Yeah,
really should have been addressed, not that
Absolutely.
they didn't do a decent job, but there were other priorities that should have really surfaced to the top.
Yeah. What they did add, which I thought was
Yeah.
very good, was that they had the students speak to us from the high school
Student
with their
voice.
perspective, and then we were able to ask them different questions, which was a nice little change that we haven't done in a while, because obviously, we're in the business for the kids first. Students, excuse me.
Anything else? No. Jim?
I would just like to echo Jay's comments and offer my personal opinion, as short as it would be, that this is probably the first time that I have genuinely been pleased that we have a superintendent of Dr. Compton's prestige, and thank her for the fine job that she's been doing since she came aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Garofalo, I appreciate
Well
that.
deserved.
All right. Then we have 9B, the superintendent report.
Yeah, I would just like to say that we've lost two great educators, but there's a reason why they're leaving us. Caitlin Chakowski is going to Bethlehem. She's going to be a literacy specialist. It's going to be a leadership role. She is trying to finish her language arts consultant and several other certifications. And it was real important that she get an opportunity. We didn't have any of those positions in our district, but she realized the importance of finding those that do have those positions available. She interviewed with the Bethlehem district and was recommended for the position, and we wish her the best. She wrote a lovely resignation letter. She would love to come back to Seymour someday in some type of reading, language arts, whatever might be available. I think her wish is to come back to Chatfield. But I think it's important that we honor outstanding service, and sometimes we don't say enough about our educators and what they do and their dedication, so I think it's important to recognize her. She also was a finalist for Seymour Teacher of the Year. So this young lady's got all kinds of potential. She's got a bright future ahead of her, and we wish her the best, and hopefully she will come back to Seymour someday. It saddens me tonight, Don Black is one of the best special education teachers I've seen in the business. 19 years dedicated to the Seymour Public Schools. The reason she's leaving us is that Milford had an opening, and they know they're a quality hire, and she's a mile from where she lives. She's going to be at one of their middle school schools, and they gave her a great package. She's going to be right in her home area. Like I said, she could walk to work. Her kids are in high school there. She's going to be in the middle school, not the elementary. But I just want to say kudos. Today it was hard when she brought the letter in. We had to have hugs and a few tears, especially in Mrs. Feige's eyes and Dr. Bull, and even hard for me, only with 2 years. I mean, this woman is outstanding what she's done for the REACH program at Bungie. So both her and Caitlin were losing superstars, but there's a reason for it. And I think it's important that our school community know why. So you can't fault somebody if they're getting a job right in their back door, and then the other one was a little promotion up. So I just wanted to say that very quickly. New teacher orientation, we don't have many new people coming on board, but August 23rd, 24th will be the new teacher orientation. I want to say kudos to Stephanie and Allison, Nicole, and all the people, the 4 teachers that are putting all that together. So that's went well with the organization. That's something Mrs. Tenza started 2 years ago. We're continuing. ESY program is in its last week. Again, thank you, Allison Brett. We were talking about you today. Dr. Bull and I, what a great job you've done with ESY. Heard good parent comments as well. So our kids have been happy. The summer's flown by, and that's kind of basically where we are. Administrative retreat is scheduled for August the 23rd. Right, Mrs. Feige? Yeah, okay. So in regards with that, it's going to be some training on the teacher evaluation and new updates, which are for the best. It's a win-win. We're also going to just talk about goals and some things with our consultant, and hopefully it'll be a good training. So that's basically all I have tonight. I can tell you a quick update about middle school principal candidates. We've had outstanding candidates that applied. We're down to the final second round. This will be Wednesday. It's a select committee, and then there'll be a recommendation to the Board of Ed, which we would like to have a special call meeting to solidify the hiring of who comes out with these finalists. The process worked. It's a lot of these people have experience. They're very experienced in what they've done. So it is what it is. We'd just like to move it forward and to really complete the hiring. In any district, when you leave, it takes you at least 30 days to get out of, to be released. So as you saw tonight, we have Mrs. Reynolds appointed as the acting interim principal during that time frame. And also, there will be a letter sent out on behalf of Lauren Reed and Stacy Long so that the community, Bungie Elementary, knows what's going on in the transition during Mrs. Reed's leave for 6 weeks, or whatever the exact time is, okay? That's it. Thank you tonight for the comments. I appreciate it.
Well deserved. Any questions for Dr. Compton? All right, well, this brings us to item, what number? Item 10, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned by Jim. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Beth. All those in favor?
Aye.